So you mentioned by the grace of God you got through in one shot. So growing up, man, and you mentioned your mom and your dad before. Was church a big part of your life?
It was, it was a portion of my life. I went to a Catholic church, just because I was like, "Hey, we're going to church Sunday." It was sporadic, maybe every few months.
Hmm.
But the one thing I did do, I would go to midnight mass with my dad on Christmas Eve.
Okay.
So at midnight, we would go there together. And I didn't have a concept. I got baptized when I was like 2 years old. I still have the photo, or I did have the photo.
Hmm.
But I didn't understand religion, church, spirituality because I was young. I was just going there with my family.
Hmm.
Um, but I'm thankful for the introduction to it. And as I grew older, I was able to think for myself and be like, okay, what do I believe in? Who do I believe in? What religion do I believe in? And then it evolved from there.
Okay. Well, I always ask guys this question that are veterans. When you joined the Navy, did you ever at any point pray to God about it or ask for God's guidance and say, "Hey, I'm getting ready to go in, if not the hardest school in the United States military. I need you to help me." Did you ever have that moment with God?
Every day and every night. Yeah.
That is awesome to hear that, dude. That's awesome. And I love to ask that question because unfortunately, I was the guy that was selfish and prideful and I didn't do that. And I grew up in the church. I knew better, but I saw it as my opportunity. I was going to make it happen when I should have been asking for help and asking God to guide me. So I love to hear you say that, man. That's really cool that you had that perspective.
He God made it very clear to me that when the Boston bombing marathon happened, it was I tell this all the time. It's so out of body experience. I felt his presence with his hand, and
Wow.
I looked at his hand, I looked at him, and he smacked me in my face and he said, "You're not a UFC fighter. This is a selfish, self-fulfilling goal that you have. That doesn't mean anything. This is not your purpose. You need to go serve your family, friends, country, loved ones." That is what he told me.
Wow.
And I prayed to him like I still do every day and night. I read the Bible. I'm like, it was so crystal clear on what he wanted me to do for his purpose. And I'm very thankful for that.
That's amazing, man. That's
Yeah.
amazing to hear that. So as you got through SQT and got to your team, did your faith get stronger now that it was becoming a realization like, "Hey, I'm gonna be going in harm's way."
That's a good question. I don't think I've ever asked that. I think that the devil was tempting me in a lot of different ways. Um, no, I didn't get easier, I got harder because I was sacrificing a lot. Um, you know, team guys party hard. At least my
Yeah.
platoon did. And I was like drawn into situations where I'm like, well, I'm here, like I'm told to do this. Uh, no, it tested my faith very much so. And it was
Yeah.
not easy. I'm thankful for it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I totally understand that. I totally get that. I mean, and I think it applies really across the board in the military. It's hard. It's hard to not be tempted because of that type of job. At least the culture sometimes is more about party hard, play hard, and then fight hard. But my question was more like once you got somewhere where you were actually going into combat, did that kind of hit you like, okay, God, I'm here. I'm living my purpose. I'm following your will, but man, I need your protection because this is about to get hairy. That's more what I meant by that question.
Gotcha. Um, what's interesting is I don't think I ever prayed for my protection. I prayed for my platoons.
Hmm.
I prayed for my family back home. But if I'm being honest with you, dude, I didn't give a fuck if I lived or not. And I
I get
wasn't like
that.
suicidal. I was just like, please, I'm point man. I'm like a sniper. Like, please help me bring my boys back home. If I get
Yeah,
blown up, then and they live, I'm good with it. I'm good.
yeah. I totally get that, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like to ask guys that question. That especially guys like when you started out and said, "Hey, I had this come to Jesus moment, and this is my purpose." It just if that faith got what changed it all. But it's cool to hear you say you prayed for your teammates and your family because you were thinking of others And I get the brotherhood. It's different than what a lot of us normal civilians can understand, but it's cool to hear you to have that perspective. And I want to step back for a second, man, because you mentioned the D word. I want to bring this up with you. What are your thoughts on spiritual warfare?
Very much present, very much a daily battle. And it's a daily battle I deal with every day. You know, it's less lying, cheating, stealing, all the above, like the devil's playground. We're here. And I just need to reinforce my prayer, reinforce reading my Bible, get my circle smaller. And I've done that the last couple of years, big time, like ending 20-year friendships, 10-year friendships on people who are not aligning with what I believe in. Um, and God's always showed up and damn, dude, it's not easy.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
No, it's not. And I think for the listeners and the viewers right now, I want to hear this, living for the Holy Spirit, living for Christ versus living for yourself or the flesh is not easy. And I mean, you hit the nail on the head earlier about the temptation, life in the teams, the world. It's so easy to get caught up in the world and all the BS that goes on. But if you're really following Christ, it can be, I think at times, man, it can be a lonely place because you're going to lose friends. You're going to, feel like in some situations you don't fit in because you're not living for the world. And I think that can be really challenging, but to know that God is always with you, that, provides some comfort. But yeah, I'm glad to hear your perspective on that.
Yeah, man. The devil will never win, at least in my world. God's way too powerful. As long as I stay reading the Bible, keep praying, keep being a man of faith, being a good human being, I'll have my back and we'll get through it together.
And dude, I think the world needs more guys like you and with your background to stand up and say, I follow God, I love Jesus, because I think that shows the average person out there that may not feel worthy of church or look at Christians as kind of like dorks or whatever and say, hey, this dude's a stud and he loves Jesus. You don't have to just wear the three-piece suit and have the Bible college degree to be a Christian. And I think that's my goal with this podcast, dude, is to spread the gospel and show people that everyone's worthy of Christ, regardless of your past, regardless of what you've been through. Like Jesus is for everybody, not just the perfect, Sunday morning church crowd and stuff like that.